have 24 hours until I need to turn in my game. Hey, welcome to Killer M Creations. I'm Killer M Niko, and today we'll be going over my devlog of Return to Earth, a game I created for the GODOT WILD JAM. I hope you enjoy. The GODOT WILD JAM is a game jam that starts the second Friday of every month. It is focused on using the GODOT game engine, and the biggest thing is a theme is chosen by a bot from Discord, and also 3 wildcards are also chosen. This game jam would also be the first time I would team up with a composer. On Friday, I found out that the theme was momentum, and the wild cards were Pocket Pow, Mitosis, and Frozen. So I took the rest of the day to brainstorm on some paper. First, I wanted to get out some ideas, and then from there I began expanding on the ideas I liked. The idea I most liked was space momentum, so I drafted up a 3-phase space adventure to explore space momentum. I redacted some of the notes so it wouldn't spoil the surprise for phase 2 or phase 3 if I make them in the future. Since I spent all Friday brainstorming and selecting an idea, I needed to get my plan over to my composer. So I drew up this wonderful sketch and sent it over. Raven would spend the next 4 days working on the main menu. Learning from my last game jam, I knew I should start on the drawing of my assets first. Well, not this kind of drawing. Pixel art drawing. I would first focus on the spaceship that would be used in the main menu. I took a break from drawing to find the font for my game and to also locate some background art I can use for space. I then needed to get back to drawing my tile set for my game, which was kind of difficult. So I ended up collaging my bottom layer of things on how I wanted the ship to look like, and then I ended up drawing my pixel art tile set over it. Drawing this spaceship ended up taking the rest of my day. I started off that Sunday with completing the main menu and sending over a video or demo captured on my phone to my composer so they could hopefully get some inspiration and see if the tracks they were working on would match my main menu. With the main menu pretty much done, I decided to turn my attention to working on the sprite of the astronaut you would be moving around with. When I do pixel art, I generally have a model or a inspiration pick to base what I'm pixel arting. So in this case, I have a astronaut to the right of my sprites. This process ended up taking me around an hour or so, but little did I know, I wouldn't even be able to use the sprite that I was making and would have to go back and make a larger version. Redoing the sprite artwork took the rest of my Sunday. On Monday, I mostly spent my time building the collision areas and working on the movement of my sprite and animation of it. The animations weren't that difficult, but trying to get these scripts to work the way I wanted them to was quite a challenge. And before I knew it, my Monday was over with. The next 3 days were basically a blur for me. Between doing all of the art for all of the computer menus and demoing videos and stuff for my composer, I got so overwhelmed that the scripting became quite a challenge, and it took a while for me to get the sprite to trigger the action to open each menu. And while I was complaining, Raven was knocking it out of the park and delivered the main menu theme and began working on the airship theme that would play while you're inside the spacecraft. Friday, I found some motivation. I ended up coding and working on the second computer screen, which is the wait screen. And then the other thing I worked on was I started the art for the initial cutscene of the game. I woke up Saturday with a lot to do. I first finished the art for the cutscene and then I began scripting it. Raven delivered 2 different versions of the Inside the Ship theme for music, and I had to break the news that we needed to shift gears from the minigame music to some kind of music to run during the cutscenes. Raven had a few questions, but still ran with it. Right around lunchtime, I began to freak out. 24 hours until I need to turn in my game! And right around this time, Raven dropped off the cutscene music for me. At this point, I needed to at least finish the final cutscene for Phase 1, which is the rocket launch, and I needed to do all of the art, the special effects, scripting it, sound effects, and then hopefully polishing it a little bit so it would be ready. Late into the evening, I finally finished the Phase 1 play loop, but I began to stress because I have not done any play testing on it, and tomorrow I needed to upload and submit the game. First thing in the morning, I made the credits scene to add in the GODOT WILD JAM overlays and to credit all the people who had input into the game. Then I went to export the game as HTML or as a web export. Exporting the game as HTML broke my Tress files or my resource files, so I ended up having to use a GD script to hold my variables throughout the game. I would also have to manipulate my sound files so they would loop correctly after Raven test played it. I eventually got the game uploaded and submitted 3 hours before the deadline. For the next 7 days, I would play and test about 5 to 6 games a night and give everyone a rating. I will post a video later of me playing some of the GODOT WILD JAM submissions. Each game would be rated on 7 categories. The first one, which would be theme, in this case momentum, so how close did the game fit the theme. The second would be how fun was the game, was it enjoyable. Next is controls, and this would be if it's clunky or smooth. Then there's graphics, does the art look appealing? Then there's audio, is it crisp and clear? And, make sure it's not jarring on the ears or blasting you out. Accessibility is something that the GODOT WILD JAM goes into, basically making that the controls and the way to play the game is accessible to everybody. Originality is just a kind of like free-for-all, and just, do you feel this game, have you seen it before? Do you feel like it was really fleshed out? Sadly, we did not win. The game placed 99th out of 156, and we averaged about 2 to 3 stars per category. After playing so many other games, I do feel like we should have done better, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So am I done with Return to Earth? No. I'm going to continue to work it and hopefully get done with Phase 2 and Phase 3 like I plan to. My composer also wishes to refine the songs that are played in the game. So I look forward to that. So what did I learn from this game jam? Well, quite a lot actually. One, I think your cover image impacts how many people want to play your game and how to draw them in. I personally feel like my image was too simple. Two, when exporting to HTML, it's important to know what features of the game you should change or use differently. For example, I had problems with some of my code executing properly when I went from a Windows-based game to an HTML-based game. 3. Scope creep, or just scoping the game in general. I had issues with my 3 phases, and I only got one done because I was so busy doing all of the art, doing all of the scripting, and the development for the game, and by the end of it, I just didn't have time to complete the other 2 phases. 4, and the most important, have fun. I started all of this, and I started developing games again just because I enjoy it, and this is something I want to do in my spare time. So I think this is the most important thing that I have to keep telling myself, no matter how stressed out or how disappointed I get. Just have fun. So when I complete phase 2 and phase 3, I will probably release another video. If you liked my journey through my first GODOT WILD JAM, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will be releasing some more videos later. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.